happened there? Weird. I'll give it a minute. Then I'll start talking about all right. I'm gonna get into that in just a moment. I'm just gonna give it a minute. Thanks guys for joining me. I'm trying something out different today. I told you I wasn't sure what times I was gonna do my lives. I might wait until 10:30 like this or 11. I don't know what time it is. 11 because I'm still usually up. I just got off work on Thursday. So hello. Glad everybody's joining us. So, okay. Today, as you see in the title, I hate myself. Now, this is something I used to literally say to myself all the time. And, how do I put it? Yeah, I used to say this to myself all the time. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. You know, we go through different things in our life, and it's not necessarily that other people have put negativity on us. We sometimes see ourselves negatively just because maybe we have a vision of how we are supposed to look or how we're supposed to be or something like that. And when it doesn't pan out, sorry, I changed the lighting. Is that better? That's the same. That's the same. And it doesn't pan out, we tend to kind of be like, oh, I'm not good enough. I'm not that, you know, I'm not as good as them or things like that. And I literally, in many forms, I've gone through this in my life. With originally, it's usually my appearance. And then when I got older, it was my appearance plus the fact that I wasn't doing certain things that I really wanted to be doing, that I really wanted to be included in. And it was nobody else's fault but my own. My friends are very supportive. My husband is very supportive. Things like that. Again, no one ever told me I was ugly or anything like that, but I still had those times where I was like, oh my gosh, I'm not good enough. I hate myself. I hate the way I look. I hate this about me or whatever. But I am the type of person to want everyone to love themselves. I don't ever want anybody to feel the same way that I felt because I know how that feeling is. You know what I mean? And I kind of want to just come on here like kind of low-key therapy session type situation and kind of get that off my chest because I know everybody's going through that. Like a lot of people, okay, LaShana, you can't do that because what happens when your children grow up and they feel the same way? And then you're sitting there and you're like, but I'm doing it to myself too. And I'm already doing it to myself and wanting everybody else to be happy. That's kind of like one of those curses of being the type of person that wants to see everybody happy, that wants to, you know, just kind of be that person that's like, no, guys, you can do it. But you're in the back of your mind, you're like, you ain't crap. Why do you think you can do it? Like, they can do it, anybody else, but you can do it. And I was at my heaviest for a long time. And then, right, exactly. I was at my heaviest that I've ever been. Naturally, I don't do anything. I'm always 135. After my oldest daughter, I nursed her. The time that I was nursing her, I was like 150 or whatever. That's still, it didn't look like anything extra on me. I didn't care. I lost it as soon as I stopped breastfeeding. Well, my youngest, I was nursing so much. I had this like voracious appetite. I was always eating. And at one point, I was just eating whatever was in front of me. So I gained more weight after having her. And I would look in the mirror and I would literally be like, oh my God, I hate myself. Like, ugh, what is this? And I started to sit back and I like when she was, you know, got a little older, about 6 months, I started being like, okay, LaShana, you obviously have gone off kilter a little bit. We got to adjust our eating habits. That did help a little bit. I adjusted my eating habits and I lost a few pounds. But still, I had this extra weight on me and it was showing up in pictures and people were commenting and it's annoying. And like, I know I'm the type of person I really don't care what other people think like that. It's a few people in my life that I actually give the opportunity to comment or feel like they, or not to comment, excuse me. Let me change that to that I care about their opinions. There's only a few people in the world. And generally speaking, they're the most positive people in my life. So I don't usually have that problem. But at the same time, it's like in the back of my mind, and you see the side glares, and you see, you hear the comments, oh, you gained weight, da da da, but not in a good way. And, it further went back in my mind how much I don't like the way I look, and I kept saying to myself, like, I gotta either do something about it, or I can't sit here and complain about it. Like, what is that? So I started going out to the gym, working out, doing all this stuff, and I was actually losing weight. And the funny story is, I didn't see the weight loss. I didn't see the size changes and differences. I don't even remember if I put on my pants. And, like, I know everything was probably fitting a little bit better, but again, I still couldn't fit into my old clothes. But I had lost some weight, and I didn't notice it or whatever, but I had noticed some little tweaks here and there about how I was starting to look and things like that, and other people were noticing as well. Then we moved to California, got off track, moved again, got off track. And when I came back to Florida, I actually haven't been feeling well. I don't know if it was a combination of not sleeping before we left and then getting to California, adjusting my time schedule to that, and then coming back down here to try and get back on track. Oh, 1 second. No, she didn't. Guys, get in the bed. Stop the nonsense. Stay in here.
I don't want to.
She can't have any choice on it. This is your room too. Good night. Love you. I'm back. Sorry about that. So yeah, I definitely, where was I? I definitely felt some type of way. I wasn't, like I said, I wasn't rested when I came back from California, and my body was just worn down. I don't know if it was still nursing or a combination of tiredness, but I didn't feel like doing anything, waking up early to get, my body moving or anything. So further, I got deeper into I hate myself because I still don't look the way I want to look or the way I used to look and things like that. And, it's like you look at a picture and you're like, dang, like you can see it. And then like everybody's commenting on this picture and you're like, dang, I can't, I don't feel like I can do anything about it at this point. So it's it's kind of stressful, and it's like one of those cycles that you just, keeps happening. And the same thing went for my self-esteem when it came to building myself up as, my design business or anything that I was trying to accomplish. I would always sit back and just feel like I'm never good enough. And I literally would tell myself, Shana, you're not good enough. Like, why are you even trying? And then, a couple of years ago, I got into law of attraction, and I got into, there was law of attraction and manifesting. So I have slowly over the course of the last, I think about 4 years now, have been kind of on and off with that journey, and more off than on until recently. And I kind of tried to find myself in that, and I kept seeing the patterns repeat. Like, Lashana, like you were doing this, remember, and now you're getting better. Like, keep doing it, keep pushing. And anytime the noise would die down from trying to get better, you'd hear that voice sneak into your ear and go, you're not good enough. Why even try? You're never any good. Like, why do you bother? And I try to stress to people so much. It's like, you have to fight that voice. Everyone has it. And sometimes it's a physical person, and sometimes it's you. You're the only one holding yourself back. You're the only one really causing that. And the other day, let's backtrack a little bit. So more recently, I haven't really been doing anything different. I've been vegan for about 8 months now, since like December of 2017. I've been vegan. I have not found I haven't seen any changes in my body, which is weird because I usually, like, my body regulates just easily. So I haven't seen any changes there. But again, I am still nursing. So I believe that it is a weight, something happens there. I looked it up, and some women, they can keep weight on in breastfeeding and some don't. I'm one that keeps weight on. It's just with this baby, it's been a little bit more than usual or than before. So I have been trying to just get my eating habits under control and things like that. And I've been looking at myself in the mirror because one day I realized there's a model. I wish I had a picture of her. Not a model. She's not a model. She is, I think, a Dallas newscaster and like a newscaster or whatever. And I have to look up her name again. But she was body shamed by some lady. She's a very curvy woman. And I remember one day I was looking at her photos, and I'm nowhere near as curvy as her. But if I'm smaller than her, but I look at her and I was like, she is so beautiful. Like her body is so beautiful. Her curves are amazing. And I'm sitting there like, but I would be mad if I looked like that, even though I look at her and I think she's gorgeous. So I started thinking to myself, why don't I see myself the way I see other people? Why don't I look at the positive things that I see in other people if they looked like this, whatever it might be? Because sometimes it's not about being, I was never stick skinny or anything like that. It wasn't about that. It was just like I'm normally this size. I want to just be the normal size that I've been my entire life. Like I've never had this problem before. So I'm like, even if you had this problem before, this is something that you can actually sit back and you can kind of just look at yourself in the mirror. So sometimes I just stand in the mirror and I look and I'm like, okay, if I wasn't me, what would I like about myself? What would I find attractive about myself? What would I find the good in myself? So I kind of had those mirror moments. Yeah, I mean, you see those in the movies and things like that, and you're like, you talk to yourself in the mirror, and you're like, you can do this. You're the best. Da 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 da. Kind of one of those pep talks. But even if it's not verbally, it is best to do it out loud because it's something about hearing your own voice. Like your subconscious attaches to it more. But in your mind is just as good because sometimes we don't believe what we say. Sometimes it's crazy, but I just want to stress to people like that is something you can actually sit down and think about. Like sometimes we have to sit down and think about what are our positives. If I wasn't me, how would I see myself? If or if there's someone that looks like I do now and I think they are or they are a certain way or whatever it is, why do I think they're more attractive or they can do more than I can? So that's really, really helped me like a lot. That has helped me so much. I finally kind of look in the mirror and not feel so bad. It's like, okay, well, we can improve on this. But you know what? It's perfect as it is now because that's the way God made you. Just like, I mean, picking out my hair, just like my hair. Like when I went natural, I actually had physical naysayers. And to myself, I was like, well, I want curly hair. I'm done relaxing it, whatever, whatever. And I grew it out, and no one can tell me different about my hair. I still love it. I don't care. And I kind of have to be that way with myself about myself is kind of be like, okay, you might think this is out of place or something like that, but you have to realize that if someone else was what you were looking at somebody else, you would think that was perfect on them because I would. And I was watching, I love this movie now. I love this movie. I Feel Pretty. This movie called I Feel Pretty. And it's with Amy Schumer, I believe it is. Amy Schumer. And she bumps her head and she's like, this just normal girl and she thinks she's ugly and she doesn't like herself or whatever. And she bumps her head one day and in her mind, she sees somebody gorgeous in the mirror and she just gets full of life and she takes life by the horns and she just walks around, struts like she knows she looks good. And I was like, wow, that is so relevant. Like, that is exactly what we need to do. We need to kind of bump our heads and mentally be the person we want to be in here. Because guess what happens? It comes out eventually. It might not happen immediately, but you feel that self-conscious, the self-confidence watching her just kind of going around and being like, I know I look good. Like, you want my number? Here's my number. Oh, I got this job. I already know I got this job. And it's like, if we literally took life by the horns like that, we could get so many more, we could do so much more and get so many more places. Kind of like Yes Man. I felt like it was the female version of Yes Man. And it's like, sometimes we say no to this because we're not good enough. We're not pretty enough. We can't do this. We can't do that. And then you get into that zone. And when you finally break it down and you realize that you are enough, even if you're not enough right now, if you just start your momentum, your wheels turning, the momentum comes behind it. And it's like sometimes we start stuff and we're doing one of these numbers, we're like, oh, but we're not getting anywhere. I've gotten a foot in the last hour. I'm not getting anywhere. But if we keep it going, we get faster and faster and faster. And that's how we have to kind of approach things in life. So it's like if you're out there and you're like, I hate myself, I don't understand, and I'm not good enough, I'm not this, I'm not that, you have to just kind of stop and be like, I am good enough. I'll figure it out. I'll keep going. I mustn't get discouraged. Um, and depending on what your goal is about what your insecurities are, you can actually sit down and be like, okay, let's be real for a minute. Not everybody just went viral one day. Not everybody just, unless, even if you get surgery for size, let's talk about size. If you get surgery for size, you don't just pop up from the doctor's thing. Even with lipo and stuff like that, you still have a rest period. You still have to sit down and just sit down and be chill until you can snap back into that bikini or whatever it is your goal. The same thing happens when you're trying to get a different mindset. You know what I mean? Just trying to be like, okay, or get, something, more in your life, like you're trying to get that job or whatever, or you're trying to get your school degree. You have to take things slowly and realize not people didn't just start at the top all the time. You know what I mean? That doesn't always happen. Um, like it's you have to just stop comparing yourself. I mean, you'll hear that anywhere. Do not compare yourself. The only person you should be comparing yourself to is you. But at the same time, you can't compare yourself to yourself and then say, I'm not good enough, because that's also very counterproductive. So it's like, I just wanted to, like I said, go into this video. I really like these lives because I can kind of just, this was a video that I was kind of holding back on doing because it's like in editing, I'm just going to be rambling on, whatever. But it's one of those videos that you just got to kind of get in there and like speak your mind on it. There is nothing to edit out of here because I kind of want to get my point across. And, it might be a longer video. I would rather that and get all of my thoughts out than kind of like sit back and edit it and chop it up. And then I'm missing points or I'm going back and I'm trying to like, say stuff over again. But, I thought this was something relevant to talk about because personally, I know more than a handful of people that feel like this in their daily lives about different things. And I know that some of us have insecurities. Well, all of us, we have some type of insecurity. We either hide it, we're either verbal about it, or we're kind of somewhere in the middle where we're kind of like, oh, well, can't really do that. Well, no, I can't. And I hate hearing people lose out on opportunities like I did because they thought they weren't good enough, because they hated themselves, because they didn't look good enough, because of this and that. At the end of the day, the only person that can judge you is you, because nobody else's judgment matters unless it's like actually for something, like obviously like for a job. Yes, if they judge you the wrong way, you won't get that job. Like that's different. But for your daily life and for your own sanity, really, you should not be holding yourself down. And it takes a very long, I'm not even there 100% yet. I'm like 75%, and that is my best improvement yet. But, we can't keep putting these negative things on ourselves. One thing, there's more things in the world that are more important, and that are going on that are actually detrimental, that we don't need to kind of be bombarding our minds with more negativity than that's already coming after us. So, I mean, you scroll on Netflix, you scroll on your Facebook page, or you look at any news station, and it's nothing but negativity. So sometimes it eats away at us by itself, and that's what causes the negativity. Sometimes we, internalize things strangely, maybe even childhood traumas. I know I've went through that. I've actually just been working through that recently. You have to kind of reflect on, why do I feel this way about myself? You have to kind of sit back and go, no one told me I was ugly, so why do I think I'm ugly? What does that mean? No one told me I couldn't do it, so why would I tell myself that? And you have to kind of sit there and go, okay, let me reflect. Well, I remember I saw this magazine once and I felt like I didn't look like this girl and I wasn't good enough because when I tried, I couldn't do it. When I tried that one time, it didn't happen for me, but it happened for them. So obviously I'm not good enough. So sometimes reflection is a big one because we don't realize how much we repress. I'm big on repressing stuff without even realizing it. We don't realize how much we don't realize how much we just kind of view the world and why. And when you don't realize why, you kind of stuck in this gray area. You're just kind of like, I'm this way because I'm this way. But then you reflect and you go, well, childhood trauma, that's a big one. You go, well, I kept hearing this about that person. That's a big one. And you sit back and you're just like, that's why I feel this way. So once you get to that point of why, you can kind of pick at it and go, was that true? Is that really the situation? Well, why does everybody else think differently? And if they think negatively, well, is it on them? Because sometimes people think negatively and project on the next person. Well, I couldn't do it, so he can't either. I'm going to let him know he can't do it. So we just spread the negativity around. It's beautiful. Yay, let's spread negativity, right? And we don't realize we're doing it, and other people are feeling it. And then you go home and you look in the mirror and you're like, I hate myself. I freaking hate myself. I don't look good enough. Another big one, I know for myself, I think this is where appearances come in, and I never thought it was a thing for me. I never really thought it was a thing for me because I don't find myself ugly by other people's standards. Like, it's not that somebody told me I was ugly. It's more or less that I see the same little girl at 12 and 13 when I look in the mirror. And it's like, that's my problem. It's like, I'm not pretty enough because I look like a little girl. I'm not, maybe this day I want to be sexy or whatever. And I'm just like, I look in the mirror, I look at the picture, and I'm just like, and there's that little girl. She's neither of those things. Like, you're not good enough. And then there's, you look at other people and you go, well, I see this person that I want to be just like. And you're like, ooh, I want to be that person. And then you go, okay, I'm going to follow after that person. And you're like, her waist is snatched more than mine. I'm not good enough. Her eyeliner, big one for me. Her eyeliner is so much better. I'm not good enough. And then you know what happens? You kind of get into this mode where you're not good enough anyway, so don't try. And it's not even like, why don't you try? It's like, I'm not good enough to even want to even try to learn to get better. Because that's one thing that I was doing to myself. I would be like, you know what? I'm not good enough. I don't know why that one time I tried. Let me pick it up again. I tried. It's just not working. So I don't even want to go further to try anymore. Or one thing didn't work, so I'm not going to try the other thing. So then I'm stuck in this circle of just not doing anything, and then you go nowhere because you're like sitting there like, well, I tried. I almost tried. There was another time that I kind of tried. And like what I'm just trying to say is like, I want everybody to understand that, like, one, I'm trying to be transparent here. Like, I go through that all the time. Sometimes I don't like to post videos because I'm like, they're not good enough. Who's going to watch this? Like, why would anyone want to watch this? And then I'm going to tell you another big secret that really, really helped me. So remember I said, okay, so I look at people and I go, if I was that person and I saw this person as beautiful, how can I see that in myself? Another thing that helped me get over my kind of I'm not good enough thing. This is going to sound really bad. I feel like this sounds really, really bad. But there's things in my life that I realize that other people are making it on, that they might not sit down and make everything point perfect, right? So let's say I'll just be frank here about what really, like, one of those things that opened me up. I do fashion design. Oh wait, shameless plug because I'm actually wearing my shirt. Anahs.Designs, check it out, Instagram and Facebook. So for my clothing line, I've actually wanted to be a designer since I was 12. And I've been sewing since I was like 5 or whatever. So I would always be like, I wasn't good enough to sell my stuff because if I'm going to sell my stuff to somebody, it has to look a certain way. It has to look like it came from the store. It has to have perfect stitching. You have to have the perfect, the perfect, what do you call it, pattern for it so it comes out perfect every time. You have to make sure your technique is on point. Who's going to want to buy it if it's not perfect and looks like it came from a manufacturer? So I let that be one of those things that I said to myself, you're not good enough, so just wait. You're not good enough, and wait until you have the sewing machine, the perfect sewing machine that's going to make your stitches perfect. Wait until you have this type of details and this type of fabric and this type of such and such. And I'm not going to sit here and act like my technique is perfect still, but I started scrolling on Facebook, Instagram a couple of years ago after attending so many like networking events where they're like, this is how you get your momentum started and things like this. I started realizing there was people out there that they just started doing this. They literally picked up a sewing machine one day and they're like, hey, I can make a square. And they started selling pillows. Hey, I can make a skirt. Then they just started, making a skirt. And then you look on the inside and it's like, this is beginner work. And guess what? They're getting paid for it. They're the ones getting paid. And guess what I was doing? My technique just being a little bit above theirs or however many notches above theirs, I'm not getting paid for it. I'm just sitting here feeling bad about myself. So that made me sit back and realize you have to just do it first. You have to just jump in, dive in, figure out what you have to do, or figure out what you want to do. And if you want to sew, or if you want to be a model, or if you want to do whatever you want to do, even if you're not able to be perfect yet, start, because you will get there. You'll learn. So it's like, well, if I make a skirt, this is the first thing I learned to do. If I make a skirt, okay, I'll just keep making a bunch of skirts. And guess what? I got perfect at making skirts. Then you're like, well, I can make shorts now. And then you get perfect at making shorts. And guess what? You got 2 under your belt instead of none because you thought you weren't good enough. And I kind of sat back and I was like, okay, I'm just going to go for it. So when people would ask me, can you do XYZ? If I've never done it before, depending on the difficulty, I will just say yes. Like, yes, man. I told you I love that movie too. Yes, man. And I Feel Pretty. Those are great movies that are overlooked. But just like, yes, man, I'll take on that challenge. And you know what I do? I'll be quite honest with you guys. Like, I know my limits on certain things and I know my learning abilities. So what I usually do, depending on what it is, a hairstyle, sewing something, I'll go on YouTube, Pinterest, and I will watch videos for hours on how to do it. I will watch videos. I'll go on Instagram. I'll go on Pinterest, whatever it is, and I will figure it out. I will call people who know how to do it, give me tips and tricks about it, and I will figure it out. And then if it's depending on what it is, I'll have my hand at a prototype, or maybe if it's hair, I'll sit the girl down or try it on myself first, and then I'll try and get into that momentum. And then when I get in front of my client, I'm like, okay, I got this. I'll figure it out as I go. And that's exactly what I do. I've taken on hair this way. I've taken on sewing project this way. I've taken on now photography. I've started my photography finally, and I've taken on things. And I am usually scared shitless. I'm sorry, but I'm scared shitless. And, I have to say my husband is one of those people for me that he hears all this, everything that I'm spewing out to you guys. He hears me say to myself, I'm not good enough. I can't do this. It's not going to be correct. And he's always like, why do you say that? When when you did this, it was perfect. What do you mean? What is wrong with this? Is what you did, and you're complaining that what you're going to do, which is the same thing or similar, is not going to be good enough when this one was perfect. Stop foolishness. I mean, in a good way. It would be like, stop the foolishness. And I try to internalize his words. And when I sit there and I'm like, this is not good enough, I literally, before I say anything to him, I'm just like, LaShana, you did it last time, you can do it again. Or you did this, you can do that. And, I have friends that are the same way. They're always on top of, just pray, like trying to keep my head above water when it comes to my negativity. And they're freaking awesome. Like, that's another thing that's been helping me. Get around people that are good for your soul. Get around people that they want you to succeed. They love to help you succeed. Yes, I am okay. I'm sorry it's a long video. It's like, like I said, it's like a little therapy session. I just wanted to go out and say to everybody, it's kind of some helpful things that when people are feeling kind of the same way as me, they can kind of look back and say, she did this and this and this. Let's see if that, that little tidbit helps. Or maybe I can, press upon anybody that might be feeling the same way as me to feel better about themselves. And, you know, you really just have to just go for what you want to do and stop downing yourself and stop telling yourself you're ugly or you hate yourself or you're not good enough or whatever your internal negativity is. So like I was saying, yeah, my husband is like very good on that. I was just talking about reflecting. Sometimes we don't realize a lot of things. I mean, this is the reflection thing can be so much more than just why do you hate yourself. It can be what's happening to me. So physical health is one of them. Mental health, mental thoughts. We have to reflect. You don't realize something happened. You saw something on TV and it messed with your psyche. And now you're sitting there going, I have an anxiety attack. I have, I'm scared. I have paranoia now. Sometimes you have to reflect and find out why you might feel this way. So if it's anxiety, if it's been the last few days, have you ever had anxiety before? Have you, did something traumatic happen? And it doesn't even have to be traumatic to, it doesn't even have to have been a traumatic event to you, as much as it could have just been an event that happened and it scared you so much that you're just like, or with anxiety in particular, based on what you said, sometimes what we're eating. Exactly. That's true. That's true too. That is very true. I have to say, okay, something happened to me the other day. When it comes to anxiety, I don't have the same type of anxiety. I mean, I guess everybody has anxiety. I mean, some people seems like it just manifests from somewhere, but it always comes from somewhere. We just don't necessarily pinpoint what. So it can be an external or an internal problem. So for me, I know I have one anxiety of certain foods to eat. So I don't want to be TMI about this, but here we go. I'm lactose intolerant. And I have, like I said, I've been vegan for about 6 months, and all my life, my mom got us on soy milk. And so my dairy consumption has dwindled from before anyway. So one thing I started having anxiety about was ice cream. Oh, how I loved ice cream. But when I would eat it, I would get so stressed out. As soon as the spoon hit my lips, I would start stressing out. Now, it wasn't the fact that the ice cream stressed me out like going in. It's the fact that I knew it was going to happen. I knew I was going to have pain for days after that. And it was a mental thing because it's not like you sit there and really tell yourself, oh, I'm going to, have stomach problems. I'm going to be in pain for 3 days. It's just the simple fact that your body knows what's about to happen. And so when your body is like stressed out over something like that and you don't know why, you're like, oh, your body knows every time ice cream touches my lips, I hurt. Every time I eat cheese, I hurt. Every time I drink this, I hurt. And so you start internalizing it. And I've heard other people say this in various ways, when it came to food or some kind of external thing that happened, you can get anxiety that way. Sometimes it's just life. Sometimes we sit up and we're just like, that bill is due. I have to go to work tomorrow. I have to drive through the traffic. And then, like, as I'm saying that, oh my God, driving through traffic gives me anxiety. My heart starts getting off fast. But it's like, you don't even realize it. You don't even realize it. I was like that. I was exactly like that. I mean, it doesn't have to be the ice cream, but you get what I'm saying. Like, exactly. I was just like that too. I was like, oh. But it's good. And I mean, another thing that helped with the ice cream problem is that soy and almond milk, dairy-free ice creams have come out and more mainstream. Because before I knew about them when I was like 17, my cousin took me to an ice cream parlor, but they weren't everywhere. You can just go to Walmart and get a quart of ice cream that was dairy-free. Now you can. So it's like, that was for me. I never bought ice cream in my house. It was more or less like my old jobs would have like ice cream days or something like that, or going out to a restaurant and you go to the buffet and they have ice cream lined up. So it was more like that. But again, like I said, you have to reflect and find out, well, what caused my stomach problems? Oh, I remember I ate a whole bunch of ice cream that day. And then it's like every time I've eaten ice cream, I had this feeling. Every time I think about driving to work, I feel this way. And we have to kind of like break down why. Reflection is a big one. I wrote in a journal on and off for years, and I'm actually kind of like on again. But writing in a journal is a big one for anxiety. I always tell everybody this because sometimes when we verbalize or write it down, which is kind of similar to speaking it out, or sometimes when you're writing, you're talking it out. So sometimes it helps. But not only does it give you reflection later on, you can go back into the journal and go, 2 days ago, I said this, this, and this, and this, and this. And you know what? I did that again today, and I feel that same way, that pain, that good happiness. Oh, yeah, I have that anxiety too, being around a group of people. Now, that anxiety is hard to come by. I actually went to a networking event last night, and it's not my first. Not my first. It wasn't I wasn't around those. I didn't know all the people there. I only knew one. And my friend was with me, Brittany. Yay, Brittany. Everybody knows Brittany on my channel. Um, and she was kind of like my rock, my backbone there. So I could kind of like turn to her and be like, oh my God. And I go into those networking events, and I'm funny about being around people. I kind of am extroverted, but I'm not. But when it comes to a group of people, I don't like people touching me. I don't like a lot of people touching me, like they want to hold hands, shake hands, or hug, or that gets me like my inside like just gets me like standoffish, and it's like it's hard when it's a big group. Exactly, exactly, and you don't, and you want to enjoy yourself, but you're sitting there like, what do I do? Oh, there's too many people. Oh, it's loud. And you kind of wall yourself off, like mentally, you're just like, oh. And you have to kind of realize that's gonna happen. That's gonna happen. Lots of people have that problem. It's like public speaking because a group of people it can be scary, especially now. Again, let me poke back on the negativity around us and reflection. The negativity of being around a group of people nowadays in this day and age is not a good feel. I going to go down. The event was downtown. The night before, I literally sat in bed and was like, "Oh my God, what if this happens? Oh my God, what if this happens? What if this happened? My car, da, da, da." And a million things went through my head, and I started getting jittery. And it's like you have to realize that sometimes that can be a cause. If this is a new anxiety, sometimes it's like we think about, oh well, all these bad things can happen, and we kind of like give ourselves anxiety because I do that too. I do that too. What's the worst that can happen? Or if you're worried about something and it manifests differently. I mean, when you really start reflecting, you'll realize that your stressors all manifest differently. Some people get stressed off, they vomit. Some people get stressed out. Some people break out in hives from stress. Oh no, don't do that. I mean, you're an adult. Do if you want to do medication, I always tell people medication should be a very last resort and it should be a very minimal one. You have to do a lot of reflection and I mean meditation, which is another form of meditation, and you just have to sit back and you have to like figure out what's going on with you because guess what medication is? I'm going to be honest again, being transparent here. I've been on medication before. I've been on medication for depression and anxiety. And all it did was put a top on it, put a band-aid on it. It made me feel like, oh, no, no, no. I meant like you're old enough to make your own decision. You're not like a child. You're not a child. Like, I don't like when people just give this kid this pill. Like, if it's not, like, even if it's going to help them, like, let's try natural choice first. Or, let's see if there's some other things. You can change diets and things like that before we pop a pill. Modern medicine is around for a reason. I agree completely. But we have lost one way to get another. So, we try these things first. So it's like before being doped up, before taking a pill for something, we have to try these things first. And my depression, my stressors were something that was going on in my life. And I took this medication and it wasn't a normal type of happy. You didn't feel like, yay, the day is better, yay. It was like, I'm not depressed. that's all it was. It was like, I don't feel sad anymore, but I don't feel happy. And it's like, or you get, certain medications do other things. I'm actually a pharmacist tech, and I see the symptoms, and then you know what? We get another pill. Yep, yep, we get another pill. So now your stomach hurts because you're taking that pill. Let's take another pill. Guess what that stomach hurting pill is going to do? It's going to give you bowel issues. It's gonna cause spasms in your leg or something. And it's like the pill, the next pill, and that's why America is the way it is. But that's a whole nother live. If you want to see that, let me know, because I told you I like these type of, I can kind of just get my thoughts out. I think this is going to be my time that I do it because the kids are sleeping, I'm off work, and I can kind of just talk to you guys instead of doing it in the middle of the day where I'm working like on breaks. So yeah, like, and I'm glad I can be reaching out to people. Like, if this is helping you, thank you so much for letting me know that. And I am more than happy to like talk about it or things like that, and just sit here and be transparent with you guys. None of those things are really going to help us. Medication, I think medication for things like anxiety and depression can be used minimally to start you off. So maybe if it's really bad, like I can't go to work because I'm so anxious, I can't, do this because this is a problem, then take a little medication. And then you know what you do? You take a medication that one day, you go to work and you write down in your journal, like, okay, it's not so bad. And then, instead of taking 2 pills the next day, you take 1 pill, and you kind of ease yourself off of it like that. And, kind of figure out why you felt that way in the beginning. Well, you know what it is? Because there's stress at work, and, it's stressful. And then I let this person get to me, whatever, whatever. And then you find out what's the problem. These things like all are internal issues. I mean, if you really like what I'm saying, watch I Feel Pretty if you haven't already. That movie is so adorable. It made me laugh and cry at the same time. And I love the fact that she felt that confidence in herself, and you saw it come out. And it's like, if you've ever seen Yes Man as well, watch that, where, things just kind of open up doors. Like, you're like, oh my gosh, I thought I couldn't do this. Oh my gosh, I was anxious about this. But then you went to the concert, and guess what? You got to see your favorite person. And guess what? You got to meet them. And then that stress, that anxiety turns into a positive instead of it being a negative, because you're like, I can't do that. I'm scared, or I'm there and now I'm depressed. You try and figure out the positives in there and kind of make it work for yourself. Because if you sit back and you're just like, I can't do it, I don't want to go. Yes, Amy Schumer. Yes, yes. Oh my gosh, I like that movie. I might have to watch it again another day. It was really touching to me. I mean, maybe it's because I saw it in a different view than just being like, oh, confidence is key. Like, it was more than that for me, because I everything that went on in her video, and then at the end, the really pretty girl sat there crying about how she wasn't good enough. And that just reiterates what I was saying before. It's like, we sit there and we tell ourselves, I'm not good enough. But then she came in and was like, what do you mean? You have life made. You're gorgeous. You're perfect here and there and there and there. But she couldn't see it in herself because she didn't look like her. But it's not about looking like her. It's about finding that beauty in yourself, finding that good thing in yourself. And that can go with so many things. When you open that door to realize, that can go to so many other things. Oh, hold on. One of the minions is up. Give me 1 second.
Mom,
I am doing
can
a
I
live.
have pizza?
There's no more pizza. There's no more pizza.
Can I
Stand there.
have cereal?
Leilani, can you get her cereal? I'm on a live. Just get her a little. You can have a little loose cereal.
Can I?
A little loose.
Can I?
Shh, not so loud. Oh my God. Okay. Sorry about that. Again, thought she was asleep. But anyway, yeah. So we have to just kind of sit back, reflection, reflection, reflection. Thank you. She can be, but that's how they get you, and then you have more of them, and they're. No, I'm kidding. I love my kids, but and that's like I said, it's something I don't want them to go through. I mean, I feel like everybody goes through it. Actually, let me rewind. Let me rewind that, because everyone does go through it. However, we go through different versions of it, or at points in our life, or about different situations. Oh, I think I'm ugly. Oh, I think my hair isn't good enough. Oh, I think, I'm not this and that and the third. Well, I have a friend, And I've known him since we were 8 years old. And I remember him on the playground just being full of confidence and, everything is just like take the world by the horns. And I was kind of like shy. I was a shy little girl, but once you get to know me, I'm just like, you know, I love everybody. Let's talk. And I remember just always looking at him being like everything he's just so happy about life. Like just he can do anything. Like what is that? Like I don't understand. Like how is he like that? And even as a child I wasn't very confident. So now fast forward 20 years. Oh my God. Whoop, 20 years later, he actually moves close. And now we've always kept in contact. This is a very close friend of mine. We've always kept in contact for 1,000 years now. But now he's physically around me every now and again. So now I see him again and he's exactly the same way, full of confidence and like just like comes in the room like, I know, even if you don't like me or even if you think whatever, I'm still me. And I always joke with him. I'm like, you're so cocky. You're so cocky. He's like, nah, that's confidence. And sometimes when I'm feeling like, what don't I feel confident? Why am I not confident? And I kind of think back to like, would he be confident about this? And like sometimes we have to bite off of people's good positive things. I try to make sure I bite off of people's positivity or their upbeat things. Hello. Go to bed. I try to bite off of people's positivity. So he like his positivity on the situation is very confident, and I try to sit back and go, okay, can I be confident about this? Can I think about, you know, what would make me feel confident about this? Can I look at a part of the situation and kind of bring that out and think of it that way? And you can kind of do that with your favorite celebrity, with, Will Smith. Oh my God, Will Smith is killing it. He hasn't already been an icon for most of us through childhood. I am so sweaty and gross. I probably should turn on the fan. Um, for most of us growing up, he was always a positive rapper and things like that. Now he's actually on his Instagram speaking like this and speaking positivity and life into people. And it's like, it's great to hear that. And it's like, bite off of that. Take that confidence and say, well, what would this person do? What would that person do? My best friend, my other best friend, I remember as a child, she was another one. It's like, as a child, I was so unconfident. Oh, no, 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 no. Please watch the replay on this. And I want to help everybody get through that. Or maybe not everybody. I know it's not going to work for everybody, but hopefully I can speak to people or somebody. But my other best friend, when we were little, I knew her since we were 8 as well. I always looked at her and I was like, oh my God, she's so confident. You know what I mean? Like anytime, there was a problem and I would just sit back and be mousy about it, she would be, da 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 da, and just speak forward. And she was very assertive. And I looked up to her so much. And I thought, wow, I need to have that confidence. Go to bed. These kids are up looking at my live right now. They're not in bed. I'm about to go take the phones. It's definitely a weekday. They know better. Go to sleep. So, yeah, my best friend, she just, I looked up to her like that, and I would try to bite off her confidence growing up. Just being like, okay, what would she do? What would he do? You just, embody them for a moment and just kind of try and visualize what they have done in similar situations or would do in a situation like that and literally mimic them and just try and like turn into them and be like, well, she would say da 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 da, and I would do that. And I felt that confidence grow in my body, even though I'm not that confident. Y'all gonna make me really come in there. Y'all gonna make me really come in there. You see this? I'm having a serious live right now. So they would, I would just, embody her or what have you. And that really helped a lot. That really helped me like see things a different light. And it's funny, years later, we talked about it because I never told her that. It was just something I just always just kind of, just did. It was just something I did. Defense mechanism. And I told her, and she said, it's funny because I always thought you were the confident one. I'm like, what? She's like, I always try to be like you. And I'm like sitting here like, this is why we're best friends for freaking over 20 years. But, she wanted to be confident like me, and I wanted to be her kind of confidence. So I guess we had two different confidences that we were biting off of each other. But that's another way that we can get over, our hurdles in life and things like that. It's like we got to find it somewhere. Sometimes it's not going to just come out of us. We're not going to just be able to open that, turn that switch on Sometimes we have to steal like an artist, a book I just found out about from J. Wanza. I actually did a little live about her last week and how she's opened my eyes to certain things. And one of them was this book called Steal Like an Artist. And it basically is saying, emulate, I think it was emulate. And, if you like something about art or someone or whatever it is, maybe it's not something that you're good at, or maybe it's something that you're okay at, but you want to be like them. So you kind of bite off what they're doing. It's something I've been doing for years. I didn't realize this was a thing, but and you can't compare. You have to bite off of and make it your own. So that's what the book is about. It's a very short book. You can actually download it for free. I'm gonna do a video about that. You can actually download it for free. That's what I did, and I read it, and it basically is saying like you take it and make it your own. So you want to look like somebody else, because everyone does that. That's normal. I mean, with magazines and Instagram and all that garbage, everyone does that with physical appearance. You have to go, okay, what do I like about that person? So I like her eyeliner. I love her eyeliner. So guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to watch every video she does eyeliner. I'm going to watch other videos of other people doing eyeliner like that. And then I'm going to try my hand at it. Well, maybe I get close. Maybe I don't get close, but I work my way up, emulating that, what she does. And then guess what? I find out a way to do my eyeliner even better, or the just as good. And so you learn as you grow like that. And it's something that I found out with confidence. It's like that book can be applied to a lot of things. Confidence, health, like emulate that person first. You try. Like, you want to be vegan? Have meatless Mondays. I tell everybody things like that. Like, emulate that person a little bit. I want to be vegan. I have meatless Mondays. Meatless Mondays turn to meatless Tuesdays and Mondays. And then all of a sudden you're like, well, at least one meal a day is meatless, and then 2 times a week is meatless. And then you just keep growing until one day, this is what I did with cheese. Cheese was not an overnight thing. And when it comes to being vegan, people are huge about their cheese. It's like, yeah, but we got to realize other things about that too. It's like you realize, okay, I'm going to bite off of this person, well, I'm not going to have cheese that day. This day is not cheese. And you slowly wean yourself off. You slowly get better at whatever you're trying to steal like an artist. And you just kind of grow from there. And I feel like that can be applied in so many ways. I feel like it can be applied in so many ways that if we really think about it and we sit back and we try, like actually try, or excuse me, I like to say try, but I'm trying to get out of the habit of saying try. When I say try, I mean you actually implement. So trying is just the slow implementation of something. Instead of trying like, well, tomorrow, procrastination. Well, when I have such and such. Well, when I look like whatever. Not that type of try. Trying as in the slow implementation. So, like I said, meatless Mondays if you want to be vegan, into meatless daily, whatever. So, you just, with everything, these little things I'm telling you, trying these little tiny tips out that I'm talking about. I'm gonna kind of try and cut this live at an hour, because I did not think I was gonna go this long. I do kind of like this, being able to just kind of talk to you guys and get it out. But try these things. I'm just gonna summarize again. See yourself like you see other people that would look like you, that you feel are beautiful, or that have something that you want. Steal like an artist, bite off of them, use their try and emulate their confidence, try and emulate their eyeliner or whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish. Take little bits of what they do and use it for what you do. Yeah, what's really weird about that? Off topic, but yes, guacamole. When it comes to cheese, guacamole is for some reason some type of, it hits the spot just the same way. And a trick with the cheese for me, and I'm gonna actually do a video on this because I think this is like something like people don't talk about enough. But with cheese, there's this thing called nutritional yeast. It comes in like a Parmesan shaker type of situation, and it has like a cheesy flavor to it. Once I found that they actually make like a lot of vegan recipes call for that for the cheese, I usually just put that in there, and it gives me like this cheesiness to it, and I'm just like happy with that. And I'm like, I don't even miss cheese. Like it's not been that long for me, and I kicked that. Once I was like, nah, I might as well just be vegan. I literally just didn't look back. No problem. Even when I don't have cheese, I actually want to start carrying a little bit of it with me. But yeah, avocado definitely. Some people don't like avocado, but it's a texture thing, so I don't know. They should. I still say you should try it. But yeah, I think I'm gonna try and kind of end this vlog. I've kind of gotten that out. It was a good therapy session. Hopefully, as much as it was for me, it was for you guys. I love my people that are commenting live. I want to thank you guys that are commenting live and watching this. I hope that, y'all can take a little bit away from this and, it helps you in life, even a little bit. Oh, you're so welcome. Thank you for watching it. Thank you for commenting and being a part of this. That really touched my heart already. And whoever watches the replay, I just want to say, I hope you can find that inner peace. It takes a very long time on whatever it is. And don't feel alone, because you know what? Even if everybody's not going through the exact same thing as you, there's already somebody going through something similar, or somebody going through something worse, or just slightly less severe as what you're going through. Don't feel alone. Know that you can work on it. Know that you can help, treat whatever your issue, self-confidence, whatever is your issue, it can be helped. I hope everybody, just eventually gets there. Thank you guys. Make sure you like. I see some people like this video, comment, subscribe, the replay, the people that are going to be watching the replay. I really appreciate this. I'm going to be doing lives every Thursday. I think I found my time at 10:30, unless I'm doing something, which I usually am not. I'm going to do these at 10:30. This is a very good, thing. I have some topics I already want to talk about going next week and for the next couple weeks. If you know something that you want me to talk about, similar to this, doesn't have to be the same as this, something, it doesn't matter if it's a live or whatever, just let me know what you would like me to talk about. Make sure you share this with your friends, guys. I know this was a long live. But the rest might be long like this too. That's okay. Yeah. So good night, guys. It's 12 o'clock here, past 12. I want to thank you guys again. Thank you so much for joining me. Y'all have a good night. Bye.